Hey, Tommy Anderson here, and I want to talk to you about a model kit that I was working on. My little competition build with the F111s from Aurora. Ran into a little hiccup. The one model I found at the estate sale was missing a few parts, so I'm trying to locate some parts on the secondary market. And so I have to shelve that plan for a little bit. But I will tell you one that I'm going to build, which is a classic. I found it at the Buena Park Model Show I was at a couple weekends ago. And it's this classic Monogram, 1/32 scale, F3F-3, and it's an amazing model. This is a rare original issue 4-star kit, 1961. It's in excellent condition. And I have to say, I saw it, and when I saw the price, because on oldmodelkits.com, they go for $165. This one was priced at $15. So it's pretty awesome. So I'm going to do that, and I'm going to track the build, and I'll put it in a little video here so that you can see what it looks like when I open the box and when I'm finished. So follow this, and you're going to see what happens. Well, before I begin the build on this iconic model, I've seen this aircraft in several museums. I've seen it flying. It's a beautiful piece of history from the golden age of aviation. The Grumman F3F biplane fighter was the last naval biplane fighter in the U.S. inventory, and was used actually up until the first parts of World War II, and was still serving in frontline naval units at that time. It was affectionately known by the flyers in both the U.S. Navy and Marine Corps as the Flying Barrel because of its fuselage design. You know, before the Navy jets ruled the sky, this was again the last great naval biplane. And I'm beginning to build it and taking you through my journey while I'm constructing this. I told you the original history when I first started, so I won't rehash that. But I want to go through with one of the things I liked about this kit, and when I first saw it at the Buena Park show, I realized I saw it right away, and I thought, oh my God, is that the original 1961 kit? And it was. I looked at the copyright on it, I looked at the box, looked good. I asked the woman if I could look inside of it, and she said yes. I looked in, it appeared to all be there. Decals looked really well. I mean, for 1961, the decals are actually excellent. So I know they're expensive. They can go up to maybe $200 in some instances. You know, it fluctuates on the different auction sites and that. But I asked her how much she wanted it for it, and it was $15. Well, I'm not going to pass that up. One of the things I liked about it, in that time, it was in 1/32 scale, which was pretty awesome. when I was younger as a kid, I couldn't afford this kit, and I don't even think it was available by where I was living. But I liked it because it was the old Monogram or old modeler's way of coming in some of the actual colors, so you would minimize painting. It came in the actual yellow for the wings, the red, which was the tail insignia for the aircraft, and a very good rendition of the aluminum. So I decided, yes, I'm going to get this and I'm going to build it now, because I ran into a little problem with the F-111 in that some of the parts from the naval version that I got at the estate sale were missing, so I'm trying on the secondary market to find those. But I initially started by painting the interior of the aircraft in a cockpit green, and then I assembled the pilot's seat onto the floor of the cockpit. I put in the pedals and the instrument panel. I painted those, a combination of black and cockpit green. I painted the cushion on the seat, and then I applied a decal which represented the seat belts, which they're very good decals that I also picked up at Buena Park. With that, I started the assembly of the fuselage, putting it together. I did the the gears and the landing gear. In this kit, if you turn the propeller, it would lower or raise the landing gear. That's not really important to me. I'm doing it for a static display. Not. It was a gimmick aimed at younger people back in the '60s. To, if you could work with the kit and play around with it, it was a selling item. So it wasn't really an issue for me. So I assembled the landing gear structure. I connected the two fuselage halves together and got them cemented. I had to tape it off to hold it together while it did it. I used the Tamiya liquid cement, which is pretty much a staple in the modeling industry now. They're extra thin cement, and it adheres very quickly, so it's really nice to use. And in some cases I'll use their more heavier cement, if like I did on the wing roots, and applied some pressure to that to hold them together, because I needed a really good solid gluing for that. I assembled the wings, the upper and lower. They were in multiple pieces, so I put those in. The movable flaps, I added those. I did the tail. I applied the rudder stabilizing bars. Once I had the fuselage all together, I applied the decals, because they're a lot easier to apply before you put the wings on than afterwards, and I didn't need an extra challenge, and they went on very nicely. They looked really good. The coloring of them was spot on, and after doing that, I assembled the engine. I worked on the wheels, got the tires painted. I assembled the engine, which was in several pieces. I painted it, and then I weathered it to show some of the wear on the cylinders. Cleaned up the any overpaint that I got, and then I mounted it within the cowling. I put the propeller together with the counterweights, because these aircraft had counterweights on the front end, and it helped keep the propeller in balance to minimize vibration. Assembled that. I painted the tips of the aircraft propellers. Back in this time period, they were multicolored. In this case, they were yellow, red, and white stripes. Some of them were red, white, and blue stripes, yellow, blue, and white stripes. I think a lot of it depended on the squadron that you were in. I finished off the landing gear, put the wheel covers on, attached the wheels, and then I assembled the top portion of the wing to the fuselage. I let that dry overnight, and then I applied the bottom wings, which was a challenge because these supporting struts between the two kept trying to separate the wing base from the fuselage, so I had to create a way to brace them together until it dried, and then the glue dried in the struts, and again I let it sit overnight, and it hardened, and it was fine, and then I had to finish up by detailing the canopy, which went very well. I hand painted it. I was gonna I was going to mask it off and do painting that way, but I had a really fine paintbrush. And I just went in there with this fine paintbrush and was able to go right along each one of the supporting structures of the canopy and paint them the aluminum to match the fuselage. Then I attached that, and essentially I was done. I took my final pictures that you can see here on a base that is actually 1/48 scale, but in this case I don't think it really matters. Aircraft carrier deck, period aircraft carrier deck from World War II, with the teak deck plankings. And I took my final pictures, and I'm really pleased with how this turned out. I didn't put in the wire rigging in it, mainly because when I was on the fire department I broke several of my fingers and I have arthritis in the joints. It's really hard to work at that fine wire to try to put that in there, so I just didn't do that. But I think it turned out really nice regardless. I'm really happy with this model. It looks super fantastic on my model shelf with my others, and what a beautiful scale this was to build it in. So please follow my future activities in regards to either my modeling or our podcasts, Real Talk with Tom and Sherry, or the Real Tommy Unleashed show, along with other projects that I'm involved with, historical documentaries, mainly military and things of that nature. So thank you. Please like, share, and subscribe.